Hello, everybody. Finally, it's Wednesday, 9th of March, 2022. It's 9 p.m. here in Ireland, in London, 10 in France. So I am again here surrounded by friends. And today we have a special friend, Danusa Rangel. She's with us today. And the topic today is mediumship. So many people ask us about this topic, and finally, we have the day in which we're gonna talk about mediumship, and no one more reliable than Danusa to share her thoughts with us. Danusa, welcome. If
Thank
you want
you.
to say hi,
Hello,
I
everybody. Thank you so much for the invitation. It's an honor whenever we're invited to talk about Spiritism. As students, we never feel 100% as the perfect people to talk about. I like to listen to a lot of people about Spiritism, so you're going to hear me repeating a lot of what I've learned. But thank you so much for the invitation, and I hope to be able to be answer the questions.
thank you, Danusa. So, good night, Miss Gibbons. How are you?
Oh, thank goodness. I'm very well. How are you? Nice to see you and nice to be with everyone. It's very much an honor and a privilege to be together once again. And we pray that today's meeting will be helpful to the people who are there sharing with us and to ourselves as well, because we're always learning. So, good evening, everyone, and God bless each and every one of us. Thank you.
Elsa, my dear, good evening.
Good evening, Stevan, Silvia, sweet Danusa, my dear Charles, and my dear friends that are in the wonderful circle of conversation. And our conversation tonight, or today, or this afternoon, is something very important, mediums and mediumship, that we are immersed in this field of mediumship. So you will know about more, and you can make your questions, you can make your comments, you can even make your suggestions. That is very important for us to follow what is the most important for our dear friends that are supporting us, being with us almost every week, as our friend from Sweden that just arrived, from other parts of the world, that we are grateful for you to be here with us. So thank you, Danusa, for being our honor of guest tonight. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Elsa.
Bonsoir, Charles. Ça va?
Bonsoir Steven, ça va très bien, merci, j'espère aussi pour toi. Bonsoir à tous. Très heureux d'être ici avec vous ce soir, enfin ce soir ou ce matin ou cet après-midi, selon où vous êtes et au moment où vous verrez cette vidéo, pour parler de médiumnité. Voilà, c'est beaucoup de gens en parlent, mais est-ce que vraiment tout le monde a les connaissances sur le sujet? Eh ben, on va essayer de vous en apporter quelques-unes ce soir. Hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you are. Very happy to be here again with you today in order to talk a little bit about mediumship, which is a lot commented, but isn't always properly commented. So let's try today to bring you some hints about it.
Wonderful. Okay, everybody introduce yourself and let's start our ride today. But as usual, before we start, let's go to our short video. Put it here.
voices is a very common human experience. And sometimes it can happen during a period of time, or some people more regularity. What you need to think about when hearing voices, is what are the voices saying to you? Is this disturbing you? Is this affecting your daily life? Is this affecting your mental health? So if it's affecting your mental health, you need to be thinking, do I need to see a doctor? And to see what's going on. Some people who have what we call mediumship, that means the ability to hear the spirits from the other side, they can hear the spirits. So what spirits do we hear? The spirits that are linked to us, that are familiar to us, that are on the same wavelength as us. So if you're hearing spirits giving you not so good suggestions, then you need to think about how are you going to improve your own thought process so that doesn't mean anything to you. So, for example, if they're suggesting, let's go and have a drink, or let's have more drinks, this kind of thing, but you're a person who doesn't drink, you're probably not going to be tempted. But if you're still struggling and thinking that you would like to have a drink, then that'll be harder for you. So it's about thinking about, it's like any friend. Whatever a friend says to you, you can follow what they say or not. You have always 100% control over your own decisions. It is when they say things that have mirror what you might be interested in that you find temptation or difficulty. Spirits can come through and give us intuition messages. So some people can hear it as a loud voice, or some people can hear it as a voice in their head. But say, what is this voice telling me? And if this was my friend from next door saying this, would I listen or would I not? So it's just having that difference about not thinking, this is something that's coming from the spiritual world, I need to follow this. No, this is a suggestion. Is it good? Is it bad? You make up your mind if you follow it or not. If you think like even in the Bible, Paul says, we're surrounded by a cloud of witnesses. So the spiritual world is because we're thinking of our world here, and if we don't see things, we think they don't exist. But just imagine all the waves of all the cell phones, of all the TVs and everything that's going around everywhere, with communication going on at the moment that we are not tuning into. These things, they are around us all the time. So we might tune in and we might not. So we need to take control about what we're listening to. So change the channel if we're not liking what it is. So we can make an effort to change what channel we're listening into.
Okie dokie. So, a great introduction we had. And before we kick off our discussion here, I just want to give some small introduction we have in the Medium's book. Allow me to read what Kardec says in his words about mediumship. Each and every day experience confirms our opinion that the difficulties and disappointments encountered in the practice of Spiritism result from ignorance of the science's principle. We are happy to note that the work we have done to protect its adherents against the pitfalls of being a novitiate has been effective, and that many have avoided them by reading this work. It is quite natural for those who have concerned themselves with Spiritism to desire to personally communicate with spirits. This work, the Medium's book, is intended to facilitate their journey, enabling them to take advantage of the fruits of our long and laborious studies. For it would be quite erroneous for someone to assume that in order to become an expert on the subject, it is enough to simply learn how to place his or her fingers upon a table to make it turn, or to pick up a pencil to make it write. Wise Kardec, wise Kardec, always a wonderful word telling us that is not such a expert. We are always learning. Every day we are learning, every single day. And today is one of these days we will learn. In order to start, I would like to start with Danusa. as our honor guest today. And my dear, how do I know if I am medium? You know, how to understand the faculties I need to have in order to say, oh, this qualify you as a medium.
It's a question. I think once we step into spiritism, everybody wants to know, am I a medium or not? Simply because it's an interesting question, because we're talking about communication with the spirits. So it's a natural interest of a student to want to be able to communicate with spirits, to want to be able to see beyond, to have that sixth sense. And several different philosophies, when we look through history, we'll be able to see that mediumship has been present throughout our history. We've been developing it and expressing it through our ways of communicating with what is happening on beyond. But with Spiritism, what's beautiful about what Allan Kardec has done is he's given us almost a manual, which is the medium's book, for us to be able to study together. It's not invited to study. I'm going to give a little bit of a long-winded response to this. It's not something that I would recommend studying on your own if you're a novice. But within the medium's book and within the spirit's book, we have very clearly defined mediumship in two different forms. Mediumship, medium in itself, is a form of communication. And then we have the terminology, which is ostensive medium, which means there is a perception of something beyond our physical world. So we know that we have our five senses. We can see, we can hear, we can touch, we can taste, we can smell. However, there is a sixth sense. We all possess a sixth sense. Whether that's developed into an ostensive mediumship is going to depend on the experience of the individual. So as an individual, I would ask myself, since a child up until now, have I experienced anything outside of the physical realm which is not easily explained, which has somehow caused some sort of perception in me? Is it a feeling? Is it a thought? Is it sounds? Is there something around energetically that I'm perceiving, but I'm not yet able to put my finger exactly on what that is? If we delve deeper into the study of ourselves as our personalities, our characters, we're slowly going to be able to decipher that actually this isn't coming from me or from anything from my background in this existence. So let me travel a little bit deeper and try and find out if there is extra perceptions that I am picking up. In that sense, this is where we bring in the idea of meditation, of study, self-reflection, speaking with those who have denominated themselves as mediums and share experiences. I think it's very important. We can't give a yes or no answer. This A, B, C, D, this is how you know if you're a medium. It's a process that you go through. Are you more perceptible to your dreams? Do you hear sounds? Is it disturbing you in some ways, your emotions? And I think it's really beautiful in the introduction, Anna Sinclair touched on mental health issues as well. As a medium, I need to ask myself, if I think I'm a medium, have I gone through the whole journey of finding out about myself and whether I might be suffering from some sort of mental health disturbance, which is nothing shameful about that. But mediumship sometimes it helps for the being to have that perception of themselves. Understanding mediumship as a way of knowing thyself, I think, is the best way of describing, of trying to find out if I am or not one. I hope that made some sense. Anybody wants to help me out here?
Feel free, my friends. So let's move on here, and perhaps we can add more at the end. Silvia, my dear, based on what Danusa just said to us, the attention need to be aware, knowing ourselves, know that this is my thought, this is not my thought. Can someone who say, oh, can someone comes to us and say, hey, I always aware of myself, I watching these, but I don't have any mediumship. I don't have it. Can she become a medium?
No, no, they can't if they don't have it. I think I'm going to read the beginning of the question from the Medium's book, question 159 of the Medium's book, that he talks about mediumship. He said, everyone who is in any degree influenced by the spirit is by that very fact a medium. This faculty is inherent to man and is therefore no privilege, and there are few persons in whom some rudiments of mediumnity are not found, though only those that have ostensive mediumship are called mediums. Mediumship, then there is some other notes that I made, and I'm going to read it and then I'll explain it. Because I find it is easier to be understood. Mediumship depends on the degree of sensitivity of the organism of the person, of the body, or the physical body. And it's manifested to the perispirit, so everyone can have that. So some people have more or less, in a greater degree or lesser sensitivity, and it cannot be increased. A person cannot be made a medium. In reality, what the spirits are explaining here is that all of us, irrespective of who we are, sex, color, beliefs, or anything, we can be mediums. We are mediums in a way, because all of us have this connection with the spiritual world. Now, we usually call people mediums those who, in their physical organization, her physical body is already prepared for mediumship. So they are ostensive mediums and they are called mediums. But in reality, we are, because it's inherent of being human to have mediumship. But if you don't have all that sensitivity, if you don't have all this preparation that you're born with, you cannot make it increase it. So if a person has very, very little sensitivity of perceiving spirits, there is no training that you can get. And in a way, it's like someone who is born with the ability to be an artist. They have that ability within them. They go to training, to schools, to learn the applications, how to use colors, how to use this and that. But the talent is already within. And it's the same thing with mediumship. So a person who, and I think if someone is a medium, they more or less know it. Some of the things that it shows that you are a medium. Your sense of humor, your mood go from being at the top of the world 1 minute, and the next minute you feel as miserable as you can be. You can be quite happy in a situation going out, and then you take a bus, or you go in a tube, or you go somewhere where there is lots of people, and suddenly you start feeling upset, very sad, very down, feeling depressed. And you look into your life and you don't have any reason for that. Then and you have sometimes your body shakes, or you have cold shivers. There's lots and lots and lots of things that show that you have an extensive mediumship. So that's what we have to watch for. But if the person doesn't have this in an open way, in an ostensive way, as they say, you cannot be made into a medium. This does not mean that the person cannot be useful, say, in a mediumship group. Actually, some of them are extremely important to have, because they can be the ones who sustain the meeting, they can be praying, they can be focusing to help those who are mediums. So, sometimes people say, oh, I'm not a medium, you can never work. No, you can. You can be very useful, or you can be the one who is the facilitator, the ones who can actually talk to the mediums, to the spirits that are coming through and in being helped, because as their sensitivity is less than the others, they are not so influenced by the medium. So their work in a mediumship group can be very important, actually is extremely important. And in a mediumship group, in the ideal world, he would always have a couple of people who are not ostensive mediums. And basically, to answer your question, if you have the mediumship, your body, your organization of your own body already has it. You are born with. And you are an ostensive medium, as they say. But having said that, is an inherent quality of being a human. So all of us have. So we have intuition, we have a sense, but you cannot be the go-between, maybe between the spirits. I don't know if this answered the question you put to me.
Yes, my dear. Yes, thank you. And I want to take the opportunity here to say good night to our friends. So we have Leah from Sweden, Nancy Valente, Neide from Ireland, Munir from Brazil, Silas from Uganda. Nice to have you all here, my friends. Thank you. And by the way, Silvia, just to keep it going, because this I think is connected with your answer. Nancy asked us, years ago, since I've started to meditate, I developed a curious sensation, like a tingling on the top of my head and on the so-called third eye. Now, every time I concentrate and pray, I feel that. Could it be a sign of mediumship?
I think not necessarily. I think we all go, if we think about, we have the pineal gland, we all do. And that's a connection with the spiritual world, which no matter whether we have an extensive mediumship or not, we all have that connection. So when you pray, when you meditate, you go into a higher level you go into an alpha level. And that's, of course, sometimes you have physical sensations, but this does not mean that you are a medium. I think to be a medium, really, a ostensive medium, as I said, you have some physical things, you have change of moods, you have sometimes physical pain in your body, and it depends, in because also I think to understand is that there are as many types of mediumship as there are people. So you have people who hear, you have people who see, you have clairvoyant maybe people who are born and can see spirits from when they are children. They can hear, they can heal, they can write. There are all sorts of medium. So if you have ostensive mediumship, it would not really escape you. I find sometimes, that because of the lack of understanding, and I think the spirits, our spiritual benefactors who gave this to Kardec, and Kardec is so clear, he's such a wonderful teacher, really. He always explains that mediumship is not new, did not start with spiritism, but it started when mankind came to earth. When we became aware of who we were, we became mediums then. The only difference is that with spiritism. With he told, I think Danusa did say, it's like a book, notebook to tell us what it is, and gives us really the information, the knowledge of how to deal with mediumship. And so, we have such a wonderful book that teaches us what mediumship is, how to use it, all the things that can happen. And we know, and that knowledge came with spiritism, but mediumship itself is as old as man. And even the people who don't believe in anything, in God or anything, they can be mediums. It doesn't necessarily, you don't need to believe in God or mediumship or anything. It's just part of being human. So even people who don't believe in anything at all, they have mediumship. And I think sometimes one of the problems that when you have a troubled mediumship, there are so many people who are in hospitals, mental hospitals, because they are diagnosed with mental illness. And in reality, they have, what they do have is mediumship. And you see, there was a very famous poet, William Blake, a very famous British poet. He used to paint a lot, and his images are incredible. But for us who have some knowledge of spiritism, we know they're completely spiritual paintings. He used to draw and he used to do things, even the poetry. And at the time that he lived, he was considered mad because he had this problems talking to people. He could see it. And there were so many cases that people had mediumship and didn't know, but they were considered like if he was mentally ill at the time. Another person who was very, very famous was Charles Dickens. Somebody once wrote to him saying, how do you invent so many stories? Where do you get all these people, and have stories for so many people? And he said, well, no, actually, I don't invent anything. When I'm writing my books at night, these people come to me, they tell me their story, and I write it down. And it's interesting because in his book, my mutual friend, I think it's about 7-8 chapters that he talks about all these people, the lady who don't want to go to the Holmes house, and you have all these people have nothing to do with the story, but somehow he connects it. And he said he never invented any of the stories. The people came to him and told him. And even the very, very famous book, Christmas Carol, the person who is Scrooge was a spirit who came to him to tell his story. So, you have a mediumship, even people who don't. And the great artists, they just put through their art, So you would know
Great.
if you have a sense of mediumship.
Yeah, great. Also, Leon Lawlor. I have been either blessed or cursed by relatively powerful mediunic phenomenon. Thank God COVID restrictions have been lifted so I can maybe learn how to channel these energies at the spiritual center. Leon, if I'm not wrong, you are in Rio, and we can send you some good places you can go in Rio in order to develop. Don't say develop, but learn.
Yes,
Okay.
actually, it would be the word, Steven, would be to educate your mediumship, to educate,
Yes.
how to behave and everything. I just want to say something, in what he said very quickly. Mediumship is never a curse. Is a blessing, is a gift that we are given because we have asked for it. It's like being given something extra for us to do, because in the past we may have been failed in many ways, and we asked that we can work and we can do something. So mediumship is a gift in a sense that is giving something that we can work to make ourselves better. So to me, mediumship is never a curse, it's always a blessing. So because of what he
Well
said,
said,
so
my
I just
dear.
wanted to
Yeah.
clarify that.
Well said. Thank you. Now let's go to France. Let's go to the Alps. Mr. Kempf, can we develop mediumship? Why we need to talk to spirits? Why this thing everyone have, like, if they are not medium, they are become disappointed. If someone give a message, but the message is not from a spirit, it's disappointed. Why we are so obsessed about it?
That's such a good question.
Great.
Indeed. Danusa, if you want to start answering.
No,
Yes.
please. I'll even mute my mic, but that's a brilliant
Yes.
question.
Now, the issue with mediumship is it's poorly known nowadays. And there is a lot of, how to say, myth behind it. The people, they think that mediumship is a gift and the mediums are elevated persons, and what they get from the spirits are coming from high elevated spirits and blah, blah, blah. And they are ready to spend a lot of money for it, isn't it? Yes, so it's totally wrong. Sorry to tell it like this. And I remember when I was doing some lectures presentially in Paris, and you had, I don't know, 50 people in the room, and then all of a sudden you have always one or the other coming discreetly, willing to talk to you separately. Are you medium? You know, and it's something terrific because they start. In French, we say brosser dans le sens du poil, making a lot of saying good and so on, and you see they have a second interest behind, and it's really very, very difficult for the people to even for the real and true mediums to resist to all these type of things. What I would advise to develop mediumship is, first of all, and I think Stevan, you told about it in Kardec's introduction, Danusa also told about it, and Silvia also told about it, and I will repeat it once more, is first of all, study. What is it? How? What are the different types? How can we detect? What are the different forms? And I think the most important is, if we really have a mediumship ability, what shall we do with it? That's the most important one. Is it to get the number of the lottery? Is it to tell to the other people who come to pay you a lot of money to tell what they should do and not do? In other way, to substitute to their free will, interfere in their free will? No, also not at all. And this is why the study is absolutely mandatory. And the best book is already more than 160 years old. It's a medium's book. It's really the best one until today about mediumship, which gives really a global overview on all the different aspects. And you luckily read this part of the introduction where Kardec is already putting very clearly what is the purpose of this book.
Can I add on what
Please,
you're
Danusa.
saying? Also, with the study of the mediums book, we need to remember, luckily, Charles is French. So he's able to study that book in French. When you're studying something in the actual language, you're able to simulate the information in a completely different way. So we need to remember that the mediums book's been translated to English, it's been translated to Portuguese. And unless we actually are meticulous in our study, unless we have people around us that know a little bit more, who have been around a little bit more, to go between the lines and explain to us what is going on there, then it's very easy to read it and see everything as black and white. One thing that Allan Kardec put very clearly to us is that things are not black and white. And one question, if I could add as well, is if somebody is asking me, how do I know if I'm a medium? I'm like, well, why do you want to know anyway? What's the point of having mediumship in your life? Seriously, because if you are, and you're not going to use it in a therapeutic sense, if you're not going to use your mediumship to get to know yourself better, if you're not going to use your mediumship as a form of guiding you through your life to notice that actually, I feel bad when I do this. Why is that? It's because I'm attracting the friends that like exactly the same thing as me. And this isn't judgment. This isn't a moral judgment of, oh, don't drink, don't smoke, don't do this. No, it's how does life feel good for you? Mediumship, if it becomes uncomfortable, then it's a sign for you to start working on yourself, not on the spirits outside. And then once we start working on ourselves, and we had a friend that asked a question about the perception she's having, especially in the top of her head and especially in the third eye. If you're meditating, you're working on yourself, you're starting to have perceptions, focus on that. Focus on yourself, on what's inside of you, what's going on, what's developing. Because if you really are a medium that's meant to be doing therapeutic work, you're meant to be the next Chico Xavier, you're meant to be the next Divaldo Franco, then you will be guided that way through your self-development. It's not chasing after the spirits or chasing them away that's going to develop that mediumship. So I think it's really important for us to demystify and start taking away this titles that we put in mediums' head, because if we want to help mediums unfortunately are very fragile beings with huge egos that need to be re-educated. And when we get perceptions, we see things in the future, you hear voices, you talk to people, you notice things. I've had people come to me and say, my God, you just said this, this and that, and how did you know? And I'm like, I have no idea. And I like it that way. Because if I go too much into it, it's going to ruin me as a being. I don't walk around as a medium. I walk around as a spirit trying to develop myself into becoming a better person. And mediumship is guiding me through that. So it's nothing extraordinary. Silvia touched on the mood swings and the things like that. Those are simply mediums. These are human beings who are developing themselves and who are having challenging with their own personality. Because when we're okay with ourselves, the world can be falling apart. We're in the middle of a war and we're focused in our goals. And we've got the giants of the world that tell us that. The Gandhis, the Mandelas, the Mother Teresas. And there are a whole bunch of them which we don't know their names. Those people are simply landmarks for us. These are all mediums. What are they doing? They're channeling the will of the Creator and they're doing their part in the world. That's being a medium, is finding out where was I planted? Can I develop and grow? And if I'm uncomfortable in that situation, then maybe I need to move. I need to change something myself. And my mediumship, my perception, my sensations on the top of my head, on my forehead, the palpitations, the feelings, the goosebumps you get, that's simply going to be something that's going to be palpable and delicious to have, because you're like, okay, I'm on the right path. Or actually, you know what, that's a sign showing me to go somewhere else. It's not meant to scare us. It's not meant to disturb us. It's not meant to challenge us in a way that it's going to make our lives difficult. There's no such thing as beings who are simply evil and are trying to get through us through mediumship. No, if we're attracting beings like that, then they're begging for our help. And we need to improve ourselves as human beings in order to go into the spiritual world. So I just thought I wanted to wrap that up when we're thinking about mediumship and asking, am I a medium? Am I exercising my meditation? Am I finding it difficult to meditate? And it isn't necessarily the Zen lotus position, but meditation can be while you're washing the dishes, while you're typing something. Are you reflecting on something that hurt you? Or something that you said, or something that you did? Do you think about your dreams when you come back from sleep? Because sleeping is a mediumistic experience. Going to sleep and waking up is a huge mediumistic experience, and we don't prepare ourselves to do that. But then we come here into the planet Earth and we want to put on our white clothes and sit down at the table and have spirits come into us. No. It's not like that. So it's very important that we develop. And
May I?
that's why Spiritism drills a lot of that in. And I invite people to study not just Spiritism, but look around the whole array of philosophies that help us be better human beings. That's what we're trying to be. And then mediumship is just a different way of communicating. You know? And it can be, and if we have the merit, which is not gifts, it's not something that we're given. We all work really hard to get to where we are. So, which is why we have the constitution of our bodies, and we have the abilities we have. It's not a gift. It's merit, working hard at it with joy and with will, with your free will. Yes, if you get that merit, then yes, you start having different perceptions that are able to be consoled in other ways. But we have a long way to go. We first need to work on us as individuals, as selves in society. And when we start doing that, the spirits will talk to us in very creative ways. They're very creative. They don't need to make sounds. They find different ways of communicating with us if we just have our eyes open.
May I ask a question? Because I'm sorry to interrupt you, Charles. No, go on. I'll say it at the end, because I think we're forgetting here about what mediumship really is, according to the Spirit's book and according to the Medium's book, and according to so many other literature that we have in Spiritism. And also, one of the most important things that in Spiritism is mediumship with Jesus. And just do meditation and watch your life. Yes, this is all good and necessary. And to be a good medium means that you have high moral levels and you're really dedicated to help people. But it's not, it's a mission, it's a work of love, it's a work of serving. It's very necessary for us, because we need to realize that mediumship is given to us as a gift for our soul, for our work. We need to be dedicated. We need to educate ourselves to change the way we are. We need to learn to really teach, get the lessons from the gospel, to forgive one another, to really see in every person, be they incarnate or discarnate, because mediumship doesn't stop outside. Mediumship is your life, and you need to be dedicated, and you need to find out who you are so you can change it to be a better person every day better. Because in Spiritism, we have a mediumship with Jesus, and this is a mission of love, is a mission of serving. And that's why we say that Jesus was the medium of God. And I think we need to understand the mediumship in a more deep. And in Spiritism, that's what it teaches us. That's what this book is being my life work. I love it. I read it. I study it all the time. And I'm not good enough, but I try and I try and I try and make mistakes. Because it's a work of love, dedication. And it's not airy-fairy. I don't feel this. No. When you are a medium, conscious that what you are, and according to what the spirits teach us in the literature, mediumship with Jesus is something very, very special. It's a gift of God to each and every one who takes it seriously. I'm sorry, I just needed to put this point because I feel very, very serious about this. Sorry, Charles. I'm sorry to barge in.
Thank you, Silvia. Thank you. I mean, to summarize, study is a must. I think it's the first big step, because we cannot do something seriously without study. We cannot start mixing chemical products without studying chemistry. You cannot send your son driving your car, making 3 times the turn of the Place de l'Étoile in Paris without having learned a little bit about the rules of the traffic. And mediumship is the same. I mean, to go and practice mediumship without study is, of course, very dangerous. And it can, in this case, lead not to mental problem, but to what we call obsession, because without the studies, there are some dangers. And Silvia, just correct a little bit. You tell mediumship with Jesus. We should not think that mediumship are only for Christians. Mediumship is for the whole humanity. So it can be mediumship with Buddha, mediumship with Confucius, mediumship with Mahomet, and whoever. I mean, it's mediumship with goodness. And the most important is to use it for making good, for help our neighbors, for helping ourselves, as Danusa told it very really in depth, and also for helping the others. And in this way, another aspect is on the study, we will see that why mediumship cannot become a profession. We cannot make money out of mediumship. We shouldn't. We can make money, but it's not honest, because when we talk about mediumship, we talk about spirits. Without spirits, there is no mediumship. The spirits are here to communicate through the mediums. And do you think the spirits are driven by money in the spiritual world? Not at all. Money is something purely material. It's here only, has validity only on earth. And on the spiritual world, money has absolutely no value. What has value in the spiritual world is goodness, evolution, study, seriousness, charity. All this has value in the spiritual world, but money not. So Chico, Divaldo, a lot of them gave the example. They had a honest profession, which they got the necessary for their material life. And they did mediumship only in their free time and after retiring more intensively. And this is the best example we can follow. And Kardec told this very well. There is also Leon Denis, the book Into the Unseen, which is also absolutely crystal clear about this. And another point that we can get out of the study. Then the second thing is discernment. Discernment is we have to keep our feet on the floor. And we must never think that when something comes of the spirits that it is cast in concrete. Absolutely not. And I think Anna Sinclair told it very well at the beginning in the video. There can be some spirits coming and telling you totally untrue things, manipulating you, pushing you. So you need always to be with your feet on the floor. Connect, of course, with the higher, but staying very solidly grounded with discernment. And it's interesting because Kardec insisted a lot of that. Analyze everything through your reason, put the intelligence that God has given you everywhere. Don't accept anything when you are in doubt. You rather throw 9 good messages out than accepting one which is not good. A lot of criteria like this that are incredibly today wise in our daily life, isn't it? We don't need to be medium. We just have social media, we have Facebook, we have the TV channel and whatsoever, telling us so many things, particularly in situations of conflicts or crisis or difficulties that we are facing this nowadays and the past 2 years. If you don't stay the feet on the floor and analyze everything, you just are blah, 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 like a leaf in a how to say, a tourbillon, this wind which are turning around. You are just exactly. So no, we have to use this advice of Kardec for mediumship also in our daily life, because no, I have seen it or I have read it on the internet, so it's true. Totally, it's an illusion. Not all. A lot of things which are written in books or in internet or said at the TV are absolutely false, with so-called fake news and so on. So the same criteria that we use in the daily life, we use also in mediumship. And just to finalize, to leave also space for our dear Elsa, we need discipline. And I like Chico, the first contact he had, mediumship contact with his spiritual mentor, Emmanuel. Oh, Chico, I ask you, do you want to work with me? Yes, I would like. So there is a conditions. You need to do 3 things. What are those things? The first thing is discipline. Okay, what is the second thing? Discipline again. And what is the third thing? Again, discipline. And this is something which is also absolutely key if you want to be serious in the mediumship. Mediumship is not a gamble, is not a game. It is something serious. So we need to be serious on our side. Otherwise, again, with this same law of affinity, we will attract spirits, which are, I think Sana also told about wavelengths, which will not be serious, and nothing serious will come out of it. And just to finalize, I would like to say, of course, the moral reform takes the opportunity of mediumship to become better persons every day. We see by the mediums feels a little bit closer, these affinities. He feels closer when a less elevated spirit is coming. He feels also very good when a goods or a mentor or someone is coming. So he is more challenged to make this work of the moral reform, which is not only for mediums, which is for everyone. And what I wanted to say is, albeit it has been told by Silvia, mediumship is there is no diagnostic to tell if we are medium or not. It comes from some predisposition, some organic property we have. Nobody discovered exactly what it is. Some have emitted an hypothesis that it is in the pineal gland, some organic composite which have some magnetic properties or not. Some other people think it's in the DNA somewhere, but not yet fully identified. Kardec told, so far there is only one way to know is to try. To try, and there you see if you are or not. That's but one thing is sure, the more the humanity is progressing, the more the number of the bigger the number of mediums will be. And Jesus told, your sons and your daughter will prophesy. And the more we go, the more we see that there are mediums around. And this is also very encouraging, because today it's ignored by official science, let's say. So most of them are ignoring it. But once their son, the son of the doctor, or 50% of the people will be medium, they will have no choice. They will have to study it. So it's just a question of time. And let's be patient, and we will get there. And I think the last aspect is also can mediumship cause mental diseases, mental problems? If there is a predisposition to have mental problems, the mediumship can maybe trigger something. But some studies which have been made is that people who are medium are in a better mental health than the average people of which are not medium. And these are now, you have several scientific studies which are proving that. And the medium which is practicing without the care, without the study, without the knowledge, he faces another danger, which is the obsession, the spiritual. How do you tell it, Elsa, the word?
It is obsession.
No, there is another word.
For what,
This-
Richard?
For the obsession.
Possession,
Spiritual
possession, spiritual attachment.
Spiritual attachment and these type of problems. But it's not, properly speaking, a mental problem in the medical sense. It's just you are influenced by an entity which is bringing perturbations to you. So you should also know what to do in order to refrain this, to resist to it, and also to attract the good spirits who will then protect you. That's it.
So do I.
Wonderful. And Money from New Zealand. Good morning for you, Money. He put an interesting thing here. The spirit Erastus instructs us to pass everything to the sheaf of reason. Medium's book, chapter 20,
Exactly.
page 230. Good, Money. Okay. So we are struggling here because we have like 5 minutes.
Okay, Stevan, I can resume things that I was prepared to talk. And but I want to point to the importance to read the chapter 28 of the Gospel according to Spiritism, chapter 28, item 8, for the mediums. It is really important, really important. Kardec described all the preface of these prayers for the mediums, wonderful. Is more or less resume, summarize everything that you talked here tonight, and says that it says I only write like the small points. Mediumship is revealing itself in people of all ages, of all conditions, in men and in women, in children and on the old people. Okay? And the other point, mediums are the interpreters who have undertaken to transmit to all human beings the teachings of the spirits, or rather, they are the material instruments that the spirits avail themselves so as be able to express themselves intelligently to human beings. And I was remembering Chico Xavier and the consoling letters. So in nowadays, we should use more this kind of mediumship in our institutions in order to help people, because Kardec is clear here. This mediumship is for everyone, everywhere, and God wishes that the light shines for everyone, and that the voices of the spirits penetrate to all parts, so that all may obtain proof of immortality. It is very important that these consoling letters, well prepared mediums, in order to give their time, no, of course, free of charge, in order really to help people. In Brazil, we have some places that they are doing that. Is really important, especially in these days. Of course, not only these kind of things to do the Spirit Center, that educate children, or lectures, studies, courses, etc., seminars, but also if you can give this charitable task to others, will be wonderful one day. I don't know when, but is there. All the books are there teaching us to give for free what we are receiving for free, not only closed in our mediumship meetings. Okay, that's it. I don't want to say more because there's a lot of things here that I prepare for today.
I think there is that book, Dr. Marlene. If anyone is really interested in learning about mediumship, there is a book of Dr. Marlene Nobre. I mean, she wrote quite a few books. I have 10 books here, but I can't remember exactly one. But I'll try to find out and let you know. Because if you really wanted to, study the mediums book and Dr. Marlene Nobre, because what she didn't know about mediumship, you don't need to learn. I will find out.
If I can make my final reflection on it. If we're studying Spiritism in Brazil, here in the UK, we're going to Spiritist groups. If we're even exercising mediumship in a mediumship table, which is the terminology, I think the invitation, from what I've gathered up until now, I might be wrong, the invitation is to translate this into your day-to-day life. So if you're able to help somebody in a mediumship group to get somebody to leave the other from distorting the other's life, these are some of the situations we come across. Do that in your day-to-day life, and you are going to be a good medium. If you're able to stop conflict, avoid it, prevent it, if you're able to calm somebody down who is feeling so much hatred and so much anger, and with your words, with your reasoning, you're able to turn that situation around and actually build friendships, reconciliate, bring forgiveness, bring understanding to painful situations, you are a good medium, and continue with it. Doesn't matter if you are studying Spiritism or not. Exercise your meditation, continue, but reflect and study with people that know more than you. Because if we stick in the same groups with the same people repeating the same things like parrots, we're not going to evolve. It's simple as that. We're going to stay stuck in the same place. But if we want to grow, we need to go outside of our groups, our study. This is wonderful. The reflections are wonderful. The studying is wonderful. But we need to go outside in our society and be the mediums that we keep on theoreticizing about.
Yeah. Okay. Just some brief comments
The name
here.
of the book é O Dom da Mediunidade. Stevan.
Yeah. Okay. Nancy, in relation to your question, my dear, I just say what Money said. Go through these to the chief of reason and think about it. You have the answer. Okay. And my appeal here is, if you want to go to a spirit center, go to study, not to receive a message or to talk to a spirit. This is the least important thing, to be honest, because if you study, if you practice what spiritism teaches us, the mediumship is a consequence. Okay. So, and Marco Davis, you put such a good comments here. Thank you. Unfortunately, we don't have time to to put your to read your comments, but thank you for your inputs here. Don, my friend, thank you for your kindness, and everyone who make this happen today. So let me go to the announcements, because last week I missed that. I skipped that.
Read the message.
So,
Okay.
so okay. So on the 12th of March, this Saturday, we will have educating our children, unquestionable commitment with Lucia Moises. Is an event led by Buzz. It's on Zoom as well. Also, on the 22nd of March, we have a conference, The Spiritual Woman by Dr. Laura Moriyama. You can find more details on www.buzz.org.uk for these both events. Okay. Don't miss every Wednesday, 4 p.m. We have a break. And this break, we invite you to learn more about Kardec with Munir at the coffee break with Kardec. Also, every Saturday, I invite you to go to the Medium's book course with we have the facilitators Guilherme Dias, Munir Garib, and Charles Kempf. It's every Saturday, 10:30 a.m. London time. So it's free. It's no background. You just need to log in and share your thoughts with us. Okay. And soon we will have in English the guidelines to spiritist educators. So Buzz will publish this shortly. And every Tuesday, Guilherme Dias and Rafael Caldas, they hold the conversations on mediumship. So it's every other Tuesday. So at 8:30 p.m., everyone is more than invited. And in April, it's near there, we will have our first World Spiritist Month. So almost 46 countries sharing, talking, experiences and messages based on the Spiritism. So don't miss that. Okay? And that's it. Elsa, you said I need to show something, my dear?
No, I forgot to add the course, no solar course. But never mind. Next week I'll do the announcements.
Yeah, no solar. It's on. We started. I think it's on Tuesdays at
We
8
started
p.m.
already this
We
Tuesday
started this
every
last Tuesday,
fortnight.
yesterday.
Yeah.
Yeah, great, great. Okay. So thank you very much, everyone. Danusa, thank you for your inputs, your collaboration, your patience. Thank you. Very nice. And my friends, once again, it was a pleasure to be with you all this time. And for everyone who shared this with us, your comments. Thank you very much. Okay, have a good night, and I'll see you next Wednesday. Same time, 9 p.m.
Bye.
London time.
Great
Thank
to
you.
see you.
Great
Bye.
to see you all.
Bye.
Au
Thank you.
revoir.
Thank you.
God bless.